Everybody, this is Mark Smith from the 4C podcast, and I'm here with my two special guests, MaryBeth Clifford and Brian Kromer from Step2Compliance. Welcome, guys,
Thank
gals.
you, Mark.
Thanks.
So, Brian, tell me about Step2Compliance. What's Step2Compliance about, and tell me about your role, and then Mary Beth, you can do the same.
Absolutely. I like to think of us as a compliance technology company. We're focused on air quality regulations that primarily impact oil and gas. We were founded in 2010. We provide software as a service in the form of what I call managed workflows for emissions testing, for inspection requirements such as LDAR. We have a master compliance schedule that'll manage all air impact quality for any source. And we have some technology around rule tracking and rule determination that pulls us into some consulting. So, as managing director, mainly I handle strategy, our value roadmap, managing the business, and I oversee some of our business development. And Mary Beth?
Yeah, I'm MaryBeth Clifford. I'm our Director of Compliance Services. I'm primarily focused on tracking over 130 different jurisdictions and over 1,300 different rules pertaining to air quality and oil and gas nationwide. I oversee the handling of all of our customer forward activity related to our services, and then I'm also serving as our product owner for our software value.
And doing an unmatched job, I might add.
Well, and let me echo that, right? So, for those of you may have seen, I've done webinars and other things with the Methane Minute, along with Step2Compliance here, and I can tell you, listen, I created the EPA cheat sheet and I can summarize all that stuff, but my go-to group when I have a question about the regs is this group right here. So these guys definitely know regs, and they're my go-to people. So you're going to 4C, you're going to have a booth there, you're going to be speaking. So what problems are your clients facing right now that you guys are going to be addressing at 4C?
Well, I would tell you right now, Mark, we are in what could be called a perfect storm with regards to greenhouse gases and what our industry is shifting, basically. So, with the introduction of the methane tax, it's really changing how compliance is integrated into an organization. Compliance used to be maligned with any business drivers. A mandate is not your business strategy or your matrix. If you're in oil and gas, throughput is the objective. But now that we see monetization entering this, that there's a value on waste emissions, integrating your compliance strategy or your methane intensity strategy, into operations is really what's happening. So companies have to go above and beyond compliance today because all the fugitive emissions laws in the United States are at 95 or 98% reduction in fugitives, but the threshold for the tax is a much lower level. So this becomes a voluntary initiative that, like a fingerprint, makes each company's strategy unique to the equipment they operate, the processes they engage in, and what their methane intensity goals are. And I think Mary Beth has some insight here as well on what problems this means too.
I agree. And, in addition to the current problems facing oil and gas of figuring out how to achieve compliance with these new rules, I think there's also some really significant challenges about building an audit trail and the integration of voluntary activity with the mandatory activity that's going on, especially with regards to the record keeping and reporting aspects. I think that that's been potentially overlooked in the focus on retrofits and monitoring and compliance around the equipment and the processes. So, there's definitely some challenges about understanding what to do, when to do it, and then documenting that it was done.
Absolutely.
So with those problems in mind, all these new regs and all the things that your clients are facing, what are you going to be talking about at the show that kind of addresses some of those problems?
All right. Well, We'll be offering 2 training sessions on Tuesday, one covering an operator's perspective of an upstream approach to emissions testing, and another related to the fundamentals of OGI LDAR program, right? Additionally, Mary Beth and I are both going to be presenting around topics of methane intensity. I think Mary Beth just gave away her topic with record keeping and reporting. But mainly that's what we'll be presenting on. I mean, companies that don't have a methane intensity strategy or are not taking this seriously are going to have higher costs, potentially a lower cost of sale of their product, less advantageous capital acquisition cost, and maybe even a lower exit cost or a force to exit. So those are the things we're going to cover, and probably a common sense approach, I think is the foundation, best management practices.
So if somebody comes by your booth, what can they expect to find, or what solutions might you be talking about?
Well, I think we'll be uh, displaying our digital resources that we've discussed here. We'll be integrating some of those into the training, but in a less overt way. So we'd love to talk to you about what we do, show you what we do in real time, the people we're partnered with, and the things that we can offer. So really looking forward to meeting some people there and talking about their methane intensity strategy.
Because you guys are a software company, right? And so you have a whole workflow and that kind of system.
Yeah, Eldar has transformed our company since 2015. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart. We did a lot of work around combustion and the engine. The most prolific use of an engine is on compression. Compression is the motive force of our natural gas industry. The gas spends 95% of its life in a pipeline. As the gas itself became a pollutant under GHGs and things like VOCs, it pulled us into this. So Eldar is certainly the pinnacle of what we're doing, but don't underestimate the challenges of combustion, like emissions testing and source specific rules that we also are dealing with.
So can you share any specific, like maybe case study or anything that you kind of help your clients deal with a specific problem, and maybe something that you discovered together that kind of got them to a different place than they would have been?
Well, we're going to integrate that into the 2 training sessions. I think, Mary Beth, you could speak to the relationship we have with one client in particular, Sequitur, and how the Eldar program was actually built for them back in 2015.
Yeah, so we will be bringing them in to present alongside of us. So you'll definitely have a chance to hear from an operator's perspective, the challenges that they were facing, how we partnered with them to solve those challenges. And, we're still working with them years later, continuing to have that perspective from them to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the industry.
Excellent. Okay, so you're going to be there at the show. You guys both have speaking slots. You can help walk people through your solutions and help identify the problems and what stage they're at in terms of their compliance journey. What can, if somebody's listening to you right now and say, man, I need help right now before 4C, what can they do to get a hold of you?
Well, our website is step2compliance.com. Our phone number is 866-842-0660. Hey, we're hoping to be the light tower and not the rocks. I think there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of confusion, but I think a common sense approach based on best management practice will point the way clearly to what technologies make sense. I think the foundation is best management practice, a common sense approach. This industry always finds a way to comply and achieve lower cost efficiencies. So the future's a hybrid. I mean, Mark, your company has technology that's awesome and ultimately is going to be approved to displace Quad O B and C boots on the ground. But there's also things like aerial flyovers that have their role. So really helping people and vendors sort through what makes sense, right? I think like our fingerprint, each operator is going to have a unique strategy for how they deal with methane intensity. And I think it comes back to the basics as a foundation first. So, what we have to offer is certainly automation, some digital efficiencies, but also the experience of knowing, hey, what technology could fit and where do we start, right? So that's basically the foundation of what we can help people achieve.
Any closing thoughts, Mary Beth?
Well, I think, make sure you get registered for the conference. We'd love to see you there. Stop by our booth for a conversation, and we love to hear the different challenges and work to problem solve. So.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming on the 4C podcast, and I look forward to seeing both of you and attending your speaking sessions there. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.